section 2.6, 2.7. This is our last section for chapter 2. So let's start with some definitions so that you can see what the distributive property is, which is where we're going to start. So to distribute means to take the number on the outside times each number on the inside. Now remember that on the inside or the outside, these numbers could also be variables. But basically we're going to take whatever's on the outside times each thing on the inside. So let's look at our examples here real quick. So for our first one here, the letter on the outside is A. So I'm going to take A times each thing on the inside. So A times B is AB, and A times C is positive AC. Okay, same thing with it being on the back, it doesn't matter. I take the number on the outside times each one on the inside. So A times B is AB, and A times C is AC. If we look at this in an actual example, we have 5 times the value of x plus 2. So I'm going to take the number on the outside, 5, times each thing on the inside. So 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times 2 is positive 10. I use my arrows here to make sure that I remind myself to multiply each thing by 5 so that I don't forget. And remember, it means the same thing on the back. So I'm going to take the 8 in this example times each thing on the inside. So 8 times x is 8x. And 8 times 4, is positive 32. So let's try the next couple examples here. So I'm going to take A times each thing on the inside. So A times B is AB, and A times negative C is negative AC. Okay, whatever that sign is what we're going to keep. So same thing, even if it's on the back side. A times B is AB, and A times negative C is negative AC. If we look at some actual examples here, we're going to take 4 times everything on the inside. So 4 times x is 4x, and 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. Since it's negative 28, I'm going to use subtraction sign here. If I get, in my first example, for instance, 5 times 2 is positive 10. So I used the plus sign in the middle. But here, 4 times negative 7 is negative 28, so I use the subtraction sign. Okay. In our next example, 9's on the back side, but it doesn't matter. We do the same thing. 9 times x is 9x, and 9 times negative 5 is negative 45. So remember, we keep the sign with the number. So since 9 times negative 5 was negative 45, my sign in the middle is going to be negative also. So let's try a couple more examples here so we can see how this works. Get rid of that. We don't need that. Okay. So let's do number 4 here. I'll skip the first row. So 4 is on the back side, but we're going to do the same thing. Take negative 4 times each thing on the inside. Negative 4 times r is negative 4r. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. Okay, notice that I'm carrying the signs with it. So for number 5, 7 times m is 7m. 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. negative 9n. Okay, number 7, negative 2 times 3x is negative 6x. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. So do 10. Negative 3 times negative 6b, excuse me, is 18b. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. Let's try the bottom row here before we stop. So I have x times x. Remember, x times x is x squared. It's not 2x. Okay, remember, x times x is x squared. And then I have x times 7, which is positive 7x. 14. 3x times 2x. 3 times 2 is 6. X times x is x squared. 3x times 4 is positive 12x. And our last one, number 15. T times 2t is 2t squared. And t times negative 5 is negative 5t. So remember, we're always taking the number on the outside, whether it's a letter, a combination of numbers and letters, or just a number, and then multiplying it by everything on the inside. So at this point, you're going to stop, and you're going to do section 2.6, 2.7, check point 1.